prism. Are you looking at the right page that says volume of a prism? A reminder that volume is how much stuff fits on the inside. So how many cubes could fit in the bucket? We don't care about the plastic on the outside. That would be surface area. Good work, Mason. So how many cubes can we fill something with? Most people don't want to take the choice of drawing all the cubes in, which then means we have to use the formula, volume of a prism. I'll write it bigger. Area of the base times the height. Oh, yes, it is easier than surface area. There's less steps. One thing to be careful of, there's different shaped bases. So you might have a square or a rectangle. Or you might have a triangle. And if you have a triangle, you have to make sure to have a half in there. Isabel.
Wait, are we talking about like the area of the base?
Yes.
Oh, that makes it harder.
Well, if it's a rectangle or a square, it's not super hard. You would just use the rectangle or the square that's on the bottom times how tall it is. The triangle is where you would need half and the two numbers that make 90 degrees. So really the rules haven't changed for rectangle and triangle since probably 3 weeks ago already. It's just putting them in the right spots. The height is never going to change. Height, this one fell over because what happens if you put it on the store shelf like this?
It's not going to stand very well.
It's not going to stand, or someone's going to bump the shelf accidentally, and then they're all falling down and on the floor. So they just put them on the shelf, laying down to start with. It saves people some work.
That chocolate even good? Like, look, it's good. It's just straight chocolate.
No, it's like chocolate wafer.
Swiss milk chocolate with honey and almond nougat.
Yeah, and it's in like a triangle form. You can like break one piece off at a time. It's kind of like
I borrowed it from Mr. Lefebvre.
Break one piece off at a time, but like in a triangle.
Did everybody have a chance to write this? Good? Okay, so our first box, same shape as yesterday. We have our Kleenex box. Today, I don't care that it has 6 sides. I care about 2 things. What's the base? It's a rectangle, right? So how do I find the area of that rectangle?
Which is 40.
That's a 5. And I care about how high it is. 4. So my rectangular prisms or the cubes only have 3 things. The 2 numbers on the base and how high it is. I don't care that it has 6 sides. I heard Bryn say 5 times 8 is 40. 40 times 4.
cubed, right? Centimeters cubed.
Pete and Isabel would like to remind you, it is literally filling the box with cubes. So then I'm gonna label it centimeters cubed. You're filling it with something. Cubes is what you're filling it with. Questions on box 1? Box 2, what's our base?
21. No.
It's easy to think that.
10 times 6.
The base would be a triangle this time. So what information do we need for the triangle? Half times, what'd you say? 10 times 6, because they're making 90 degrees. How high is it when it stands up? Half times 10 is 5. 5 times 6 is 30. 30 times 21. 630 centimeters cubed. We're filling it with cubes, right? Looks like Pete's starting on box 3. What's our base?
6 times 8 times half.
Height. Height. 9 when it stands up. Sometimes I say things so many times in one day that I hear myself saying, when it stands up, when it stands up, when it stands up. Half times 6, 3 times 8, 24 times 9,
16.
feet cubed. Getting it? Anyone need help knowing where the numbers are coming from? Popcorn? What shape's the base? Rectangle?
No, half.
So how do I find the area of that? How high is it? $32 times 11?
Inches. 350 inches.
This one's a little bit silly because we're actually finding out how much popcorn is in the bag. But does popcorn come in the shape of a cube?
So there's 352.
There's 352 pieces of popcorn mixed with air. Because in between each kernel, there's some air floating around. And have you ever seen the advertisements that say, like, settles during shipping or whatever it is? So they did fill the bag at one point, but then you open the chips and you're like, what? How come there's only half a bag? Because when it was on the truck, it was shaking and shaking and shaking, and all the air went to the top and all the chips went to the bottom. Can you picture what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So there's not quite as many chips in there as you thought there was going to be. Does that make sense? Box 5. Ooh, apple juice. Anybody like apple juice?
I love it.
This would be a juice box. What's the shape of the base? Rectangle, which is actually, if you look at the measurements, a square on this one. Who said that? Thanks, Ellie. Because she said, look, there's 5 this way and 5 this way. So how do I find the area of that square?
5 plus 5.
That would be perimeter.
5
5 times 5. How tall is it? Five times 5 is 25. If I have 9 quarters, I have 225 cents or centimeters. This is another silly one. Apple juice usually does not come in the shape of a cube. Oh, good point, Savannah. If you froze it, you could cut it into cubes. Or if you had a hollow cube, you filled it with apple juice, dumped it in. Filled it with apple juice, dumped it in. Filled it with apple juice, dumped it in. And did that 225 times,
You have 225 slots.
you would have a full carton. But everyone goes, no way, not doing that. Pete.
So I actually did this one the other way. I did 45 times 5, and it still was 225.
Yeah, because of that commutative property. If it's all multiplying, Pete said he did 5 times 9 first, and then times 5.
I thought it was going to be wrong, so I did it the other way, but it didn't even matter.
Right, it doesn't matter if it's all multiplying. And actually, if it was all adding, that would be okay too. Commutative property. Last one. Mr. LaFave had some measurements on here for us. He said this one, this long side, is 28 centimeters. And this is 6, he said. And then through the middle, why did he have to go through the middle anyway?
90.
Oh yeah, 90 degrees. That is 5 centimeters. Did you use half in there? And then it stands up.
That's supposed to be 28.
Yep, it sure is supposed to be 28. Don't know where that came from. Just made that up. Thank you. Half of 6 is 3. 3 times 5 is 15. 15 times 28.
460.
One more time.
460.
What do we think?
I got 420.
I got 420.
Yeah, 420.
I didn't use the calculator. I used
It's okay.
Because it would have been 840 if you didn't use the half, and then you cut that in half.
That's okay. What does this number mean anyway?
How many squares you could fit
or
into
triangle.
How many squares of chocolate, yum, could fit inside? There was something else I was gonna say. What if we were gonna find the surface area of this?
You just find it there.
How?
300 times height plus 2 times base.
Thank you, Bryn, for looking. Thank you, Sophie, for finding it.
Do we have to find the surface area?
So what if we were to?
What if we were to? What do I do? Maddie?
28 plus 28 plus 6 plus 6.
This is a super common mistake. What's the shape of the base?
Oh, which one?
Right. I'm trying to get people to draw the base because otherwise you make a simple mistake every time, not just Maddie. What do I know about my triangle?
So it's 6 plus 5 plus 5.
The 5 is through the middle.
6 plus 6 plus 6.
Right. Isabel, close your eyes. 6 plus 6 plus 6.
18.
What's now? Height when it stands up. Height when it stands up.
28.
What's this?
28. Or no, 30. Or wait, no.
Half
It's
times
11.
6 times 5.
Half times 6 times 5.
I'm so smart.
Here's what I find happens with 7th graders. They were decent at surface area yesterday. Then I teach them volume today, and it's like surface area doesn't even exist anymore. So you have to be able to use both formulas. Also, I really think everyone should draw the shape of the base. And if you're not drawing the shape of the base, you're probably making a simple mistake somewhere. Who wants to ask for help?
I have a question. This one about today again?
No.
Yeah.
What does surface area mean anyway?
The area of the outside.
How much cardboard was needed to hold our 420 cubes of chocolate? Can you think of all the math that went into this just to put this chocolate box on the shelf?
We only did it one time.
So much. No, not just one time, Preston. Look, you can also get this size.
No.
Oh,
You can also get this size. Broken
those
half.
ones are probably the little ones.
You can also, maybe this is the same size. I guess the graphic designer had to make it blue to gold.
Why is there so many colors?
He must like chocolate. Okay, so they for sure did it 3 times.
maybe 4.
Maybe 4.
Didn't work out.
Can you believe it? So much math.